Good evening, friends. I'm sure you're there and you can hear me. We are about to begin our virtual tour to Namdapha National Park. So, are we ready? I'm sure you're all there and about to start the virtual tour to Namdapha Park, the land of dancing butterflies. Of course, that's my favorite place actually, Namdapha. I've been going there since 1993. You can imagine, some of you must have not been born there. But I've been going there, and because basically I was interested in butterflies. So that's a place where it's so rich. It's everything. You want mammals, birds, insects, amphibians, reptiles, you name it, and you have it. And such a dense, such a beautiful that once is never enough. And I've been there so many times since 1993. Of course, that time the situation was different, and situation was different. So obviously, uh, now it is a slightly some places it's not yet. It is some places it may encroach, but otherwise it's still pristine and lovely place to go. I'm sure you know exactly where Namdapha Park is there. But if you don't know, then you should look at the map of India. And the extreme eastern corner, you can see on the bordering of Myanmar, Burma. You can actually, I'll show you the map soon. It's not uploaded, but it's there. I should come up there. I'll show the map where actually I'll show the exact position of Namdapha, which is in the extreme corner of the eastern part of India, bordering Myanmar on the east. And then I'll tell you how to go there, because reaching there is, of course, you have to do an effort to reach as because it is the nearest place. Of course, I've been going from Guwahati. When earlier I used to go with BNHS camps, we used to go with the overnight bus that took almost a night, you know, traveling almost over the night and halting in between in Kaziranga also, and that was very exciting. But of course, now you can of course fly to Dibrugarh straight away, and that there you have the airport, and from there it's quite close by. It's not very far, hardly from Dibrugarh. You can fly back. Of course, let me talk about Namdapha first. Namdapha is the Dafa. The name Namdapha is basically Singpo term, that is Nam means water and Dafa Bum is the hill that the water comes from, and that's a river Noah thing that flows through along the Namdapha ridge. That's how the name Namdapha has given, and it shares the border, international border with Myanmar. Actually, it at the adjacent, and that's a lot of butterflies, fauna. The crossover, of course, for them it is not a political boundary. So obviously, and there are so much of diversity. It's a huge park. It's possibly fourth largest national park in India. It's a Project Tiger actually, one of the tiger reserve. Of course, we have been there, and I have seen only once the tiger records there. But otherwise, it's not like other tigers. Very dense, and even mammals are very difficult to see there. As we go, we'll be seeing the forest also. Now, how to reach Namdapha? Talking about the nearest town is Miao. Miao is about 156 kilometers from the nearest airport, that is Mohanbari in Dibrugarh. So that's the best place. You fly to Dibrugarh from Guwahati, and or directly if there are flights, or you can travel by train also from Miao to Tinsukia, and from Tinsukia you can go to Miao, or by road you can drive from Guwahati. It's an overnight drive of 12 hours drive. It's a long drive. But it's worth the trouble, and it's a lovely town, Mia, where you can possibly stay. And I'll be giving you a couple of contacts where you can possibly contact much before, like Upla Singpo is there, he's on the Facebook, and then Minom Pertin is there, he's from the Seeds, that's an NGO in Miao. So obviously you have good contacts, and Roshan Upadhyay is there, so you can always contact. They all are in our Facebook, and you can contact them. So let's start our tour. Now we are at the gate of the Namdapha National Park. That's where you have to buy your ticket. Of course, they sometimes charge you the camera money. So it's the longer the lens, the bigger is the fee. So you have to be careful if you're carrying long lenses. Then you'll have to big fat money for for that camera fee. We often argue with them, "Bhai, this is not a professional camera. We are not really professional, as you call us. We enjoy photography, and we don't make money out of selling our pictures. Can't really in India. You really can't make money selling pictures. That, but they'll understand. So sometimes we have to pay up whatever they ask because we have to go inside. So let's move. Where we walk, best way, of course, you can take a vehicle and go straight away to Deban. But the joy of walking in the forest is lost. If you go in a vehicle straight to Deban and then you relax and have a cup of tea, there's no fun. Because you have to really earn your cup of tea when you have to reach there. And of course, Deban is about 14 kilometers inside. So it's a long journey, but you can take breaks and in between possibly you can arrange that vehicle to be picked up if you're too tired, if you're not used to trekking that long. But the view is scenic, and the rivers are beautiful, blue water, clean water flowing from the mountains, and the chirping birds. And now we are going to see, of course, we are not going to see birds today. We are going to see only butterflies. So we'll be ignoring birds and mammals. But of course, I may talk about them because you can't miss them. There are so many of them, and the forest is so amazing, rich. So here we trek along the rivulets. There are small rivulets, and the big Noah Ding flows along the sides. And as you enter, you can realize, see the forest is different. You've got wild bananas, even tree ferns are there. Earlier, as you go ahead, you'll see tree ferns also there. So mainly bananas, screw pine, wild ginger, wild rice, sugarcane. This kind of, and these are the gene pools. These are the forests which hold the gene pools for us. These are all food plants for us, and they are the backups. And that's why we need forests, not for birds and butterflies just. And we have to trek slowly. And every corner there is a surprise for you in this such kind of forest. And of course, now we are looking for butterflies. So not very high, but we are usually looking on the road and along the roadside. So let's see. And we'll be skirting along this river. The river skirts along the road as we go towards Deban. Deban is a rest house which we'll be reaching ultimately. And the beautiful Noah Ding is flowing by. And it depends on the season. If you are in the April, May, when the snows are melting in Dafa, boom, maybe the rivers are full and forced to fly. They are flowing with the force. But maybe later they slow down, and winter they slow down. And the ice is not melting. But the best time to go to Namdapha is basically from March, April, May, and then the rains start, of course. And then after rains are over, you can go from November end to maybe February. You are there. But of course, it rains there almost 6 months, and anytime it rains anyway. So you have to be ready with your raincoat and ready with your days sometimes. Sometimes it days for a couple of days continuously, and you can't go out. So keep a couple of spares day extra in case you get stuck with the rain, because you can't see anything. It's rains. It's just nothing but rain. So you have to really prepare for good rains in Namdapha, Arunachal Pradesh's crown, and the jewel of Arunachal Pradesh. And then you have to look everywhere. And when we were there, we were looking everywhere, looking for possibly, and every corner there was a surprise. And photographers were all cocked up and ready with their lenses and flashes ready, beeping. And you can see that when they saw a butterfly, they just flocked around. They rolled on the ground. They rolled in the muck. And they, from every position, every lens, they kept on clicking like crazy. And you should see their activity. It's really crazy to watch these people who are the butterfly crazy people going on the muck and the ground after butterflies. And of course, I'll show you that it is not in vain. The kind of butterflies you see, it really makes you crazy. I wouldn't blame them. But of course, you have to be. Namdapha is a wet forest. So you should understand that wet forest means a lot of leeches. Especially if you go during rains, the leeches will fall from the trees also on the top if it's raining. So, and stay on the clear ground, but leeches are there in the grasses also waiting for you. So you have to have leech guards. Leech guards can be made there. There's a tailor there who's specialist in stitching leech guards. You can, or if you forget, you can get a leech guard made there also, or you can buy. Online you can buy leech guards there now on Amazon also. So, but leeches are there, and they are really very, very good at it, getting at you. They can get you from the shoes, they can fall from the trees, and sometimes they latch onto your camera bag when you keep it down when you're photographing, and they'll sit on the camera bag till you hang it back on your shoulder, and from there they'll take it from camera back to your shoulder, and from there they'll go into your neck, and then you had it. Of course, nothing harmful. You slightly, you'll feel some wetness there, and that may be just blood flowing. It stops for a while later on. But yes, leeches are there, and good number of leeches. But that has never scared me. Like, this is part of the game, actually. Butterfly is a much more bigger reward for the small little blood donation you give to leeches. But the best places to photograph butterflies is actually the waterfalls there. And this is Anamika, the famous for waterfalls, where you get the maximum number of butterflies, and you have to be there. And the kind of that moisture actually, and the sheltered place is perfect for butterflies. And the amazing butterfly life you see is, you can drive you crazy. And we have spent hours and hours just here, because this is a place actually where butterflies just come from different corners, different ends, and at different times different bird species come. So you have to be there almost throughout the day. And especially some skippers, they come early morning. Then you have the other butterflies like the sailors and sergeants coming late in the around 10 o'clock. So they keep on coming till the sun goes down. By 3-4 o'clock it's darker, then shade is completely in the shade, and then the butterflies stop coming. So there we had the white commodore, and then we had the jesters. Jesters are like, like yellow sailors, they look like. But look at the hind leg actually. If you see the hind leg, hind wing, you see, hind wing is a pointed here. This point here, or you can see the point here and the point here. This is a spotted jester, and that's the underside, and this is a common jester. On the top, they look almost similar, but underside, they're different. So underside actually is the key to the ID of jesters. And they're very attractive butterflies, very active, and very easy to photograph also around. Then we come to maps, the maplets. This is the cute little maplet you see. It's a beautiful maplet, and that is usually seen around water. The common map also is seen. The common map is much commoner, so I didn't show you, but this maplet is amazing. And you should get one more species there. That's a wavy maplet. That is rather rare there, but I had got it when I had gone there in 2010. So I had got it then. And then we have the sapphires. It's a purple sapphire, the male here. The female is much on the top. It's not blue, it's brown with the orange mark. That's a female, and this is a male with the bluish and orange mark. And then we have the blue gem. Blue gem is basically a beautiful butterfly, and you can start seeing them in Namdapha onwards. When you start moving in Namdapha, you can see Namdapha. And then you have the chocolate albatross. Chocolate albatross is another beautiful. We have different kinds of albatrosses that we're seeing there. But this is the chocolate albatross is found in Sahyadri in Western Ghats also. But there you can see numbers, and you can see the mud puddling in hundreds actually. So we will go to the next slide. And now we come to the skippers. And this is also a place to watch for skippers. And the kind of skippers you get is amazing. They are usually not the usual butterflies. Skippers are a class apart. But of course, some people find it difficult to ID, but it's a challenging for a lot of butterflies. And here you can see the all king, beautiful all king with orange marking at the end, and it was basically, these skippers had a weakness for bird droppings, which they get their salts and nitrates from. So usually looking for skippers, look for bird droppings, and you'll certainly find a skipper there. And here I got the all king, another handsome skipper here on the bird dropping with a long proboscis probing for a bird dropping. And then this is the dark pale dart, and this is a male. And if you look at this brand here on the forewing, there is a stripe here in the middle. That is a brand. And the males in butterflies, they have brands of different places. They have in skippers, they have these brands here, and according, some of the IDs are done according to the brand on the position of this brand. These are the dark palm dart, and this is dark yellow banded flat here. And then you have the chestnut angle, very handsome butterfly again. And one of the rare species I got there, but only once I found, was a hairy angle. This is a hairy angle, almost hair-like scales it has got. And that also had come on the actually bird dropping. You can see the bird dropping at the right. And his hind wings are also at white. That white markings are very much for those skippers who have got habit of sitting on bird droppings. And that coloration has evolved to make them invisible when they're sitting around the bird dropping, because bird dropping also a lot of whitish, and they have the hind wings that merge with the bird dropping, and that makes them invisible. So that is how the skippers adapt themselves with this kind of coloration. And butterflies are everywhere there. They will sit on the shoulders because you start sweating actually around that time. Though it is quite, you have to walk along, you're trekked a lot, and sometimes the sun can be quite strong there, and that's where you can start sweating. And this sweat will attract a lot of butterflies. And you can say this Twani Raja sitting on the cameras so close that he couldn't photograph it. You can imagine. And the camera is looking for a salt on the fingers actually. So this is how the guys get these butterflies on the fingers, with a little salt on the salt is sweat on the fingers, and they just go crazy because they're salt thirsty. Especially northeast butterflies are found. There's not the common salt, not the kitchen salt, but the kind of salt from the sweat, urine, dung, that kind of salt they need to take it. So that's the place, and they'll sitting all over you on your dirty socks also. If you remove your shoes and put your socks out, they'll come on your smelly socks. And another thing I found that on the road, especially many times, I saw butterflies crowding on the road, and what I saw was basically droppings of carnivores. Especially the cats and the other canines, possibly some wild dogs and wolves, or not wolves, but maybe jackals or some other like civets also. They used to come and defecate on the middle of the road, and that is to attract a lot of butterflies. But the problem was that this you have one here, one commander and one Nawab here on the extreme left top, and then we have bottom, we have wizard and the purple sapphires there down below left, and then we have the constable at the bottom right, and then on the top right is a yellow palm, this Jezebel palm fly, and that's dead. And there are not just one butterfly dead, but there were several butterflies that had died there because they were actually sitting on this piece of shit of some animal, and because it was when the vehicle came, they didn't move, and they would refuse to move, so much so that they got crushed and died. And that I felt so bad because I wanted to photograph this butterfly so badly, and I found this rare butterfly dead on the road, and I was really kicking myself. I said, "My God, what a waste!" But that has been happening in a lot of places. Like Ulta Pani also they've been happening because the vehicles keep on coming and going, and these butterflies, when they're stopped, they're sitting mud puddling or on these, especially those animal droppings. They refuse to budge. Even the vehicle is coming and crushing them. And as soon as this lot is crushed, a fresh lot comes and sits on the same dead butterflies, the same piece of shit. So that keeps on happening, and it's such a and we had volunteered actually. We started lifting this shit and putting it on the side of the road because just to keep the butterflies safe, out of the concern. So that is what we had done. But as you go in the deeper forest, you can see the forest is getting deeper and deeper. Actually, you can see the bananas, and these are all wild bananas. These bananas are wild, and they're the ancestors of all the bananas you eat here. That's the reason if anything goes wrong with the domestic varieties, we can go back to the forest and get our bananas back. Because these are like the hard disk. When you store something valuable, you always store in hard disk, and forests are like hard disk, and they are the gene pools to have our bananas, rice, wild sugarcane, several food plants, beans plants are there. So these are the ancestors of all the domestic varieties, and that is why we require these kind of forests as a treasure house of gene pools and a backup for the future if something goes wrong. And there were tree ferns also. And as we went inside, I saw the land full of elbow PRO. All of the land was full of it. And then I peeped in, I saw a dark cat's eye. There's a dark cat's eye sitting there. It was dark and I could not see. Between those, the crowd of this elbow PRO, there's also one straight PRO also, only one. Of course, you can see slightly here in the corner, left corner here. But I couldn't get a good shot. But otherwise, most of them were elbow PRO. This is elbow PRO. We get angled PRO, then we have the common PRO, this elbow. You can see the elbow like marking there, the right angle. It is breaking there near the head and the base region. So that's elbow PRO in the dark cat's eye. You have Tamil cat's eye also when you go to South India. And the best was the dragon tails. You can see at the bottom left, dragon tails. The first time I saw them, I was shivering with excitement. I had always read about it. I'd seen them in BN's library. I read about Winter Blythe, the way he described about dragon tails, and I was so fascinated by dragon tails. That was my fantasy to actually see them live. And when I first time Shashank Dalvi was there with me, and he shouted from other end. He said, "Isaac, there are dragon tails here. My God!" I rushed there. I rushed and saw them. There were 70 dragon tails together mud in a muddy wet spot, and I was shivering with excitement. So you can imagine. And these are white dragon tails. We get green dragon tails also. Actually, the green dragon tails have slightly greenish band instead of the white, and the wing border is equal. It doesn't broaden up like you see this white dragon tail. The black border actually broadens up at the apex, so that's the difference. And the courtier, the colorful courtier here is the male. Actually, the female is much darker and is rarely seen. I had got only once. I got photographed. The female of the courtier. This is the eastern courtier. We have got western courtier also and eastern courtier also. And these are all the mud puddlers. They always this also the courtier is a dung is a mud puddling on dung. So usually on the road the butterflies come because there is a lot of dung available, the droppings available, and the animals passing sometimes urinating there. So these are things which attract butterflies a lot. You'll be surprised. Besides flower, butterflies feed on dung, urine, and sweat also. Then we come to the next lot is all these small butterflies. That's the long tail. Top left is the long tail is the imperial, beautiful butterfly with the blue imperial, and then you have this, you have the purple sapphire closed wing with the broad orange border, and then we have the fluffy tit bottom left. It looks almost similar to imperial, but the tails are not as straight as the imperial, and the pattern is different. And then we have the orchid tit here on the bottom right. Orchid tit again is seen in the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, also in the Western Ghats also, but is much commoner in Northeast. It's very common there because there are so many orchids there actually in this kind of areas. And we saw some good numbers of orchids in Namdapha also. And Northeast is a place for orchid during March, April, May. If you see a lot of orchids flowering, and then this tiny butterfly is almost slightly bigger than your little finger's nail. Is a hopper actually, tiger hopper. It's a skipper butterfly, not in the blues, but a skipper butterfly. It's called a tiger hopper, a very small butterfly with a big name, tiger hopper. It scares me sometimes, but it's very small butterfly. So, and then we start getting garden flowers. That is, we are nearing some habitations. It was a long walk we had taken, and we had taken our lunch also in between, and almost at the day was ending. That was nearly 4 o'clock. And you start garden flower. Garden flower means somebody, human habitation has come back. But there also these flowers were drawing up a lot of butterflies, and that was this red lacewing. You can see the patterns, amazing pattern. You have got in south, you have got a Tamil lacewing that is similar to the leopard lacewing you see in the left below. But the red lacewing is found only in the northeast, and the pattern is amazing. The underside pattern, especially upper side, is more reddish and with the black border. And then we have this tree yellow. Tree yellow is like a grass yellow. It looks like grass yellow, but it doesn't have any spots, just a small black border. Otherwise, it is spotless and is much beautiful and a little larger than the grass yellows, but found only again in the northeast. And then we have the spangle. Spangles have got a lot of blue and scales, on the top also like spangles of stars. It has got tiny scales with blue and orange, blue and red, with tiny spots. So that's the spangle it's called. And underside it looks like this. This is a swallowtail butterfly again, but doesn't have the long tail on the hind wing. That's what I got in the near, and that was the place Deban. Now that was our destination to go there to spend our night there. Actually, that is the guest house, the forest guest house, right in the middle of the forest. Beautiful place, very scenic location, and a beautiful stay there. Good people there, and good food also, and place where here also we saw a lot of butterflies in the flowers where they had planted a good garden around. So you had a lot of birds, butterflies coming there, and that's the place. In evening visit, you can see the flying squirrel actually, the Namdapha flying squirrel actually flying across the trees. You can see it. That's a very likely place to see this flying squirrel also. So, and that's where you sometimes see the gibbons coming there in the afternoon. Gibbons come there, and hornbills also you can see flying across the river. But actually, our next morning, we had started to go across. There's a river there, small river. Noah Ding is there. So we have to cross this river. It's a small rivulet actually, not the big river. The rivulet actually. And that's now that time the coral tree was flowering. And we had set up our aim to cross this river. I've gone different seasons, and sometimes the water is not much, and you can always walk through, or you can take a boat and walk through, and the small rivulets you can just wade through. But at times we have to hire elephants to cross this wading, because it was too much of deep rivulets, and at small streams you can't keep on taking the boat along. So we have to hire elephants, and this was the main river actually that we had to cross with a boat. So, and there's a forest across, a lovely forest, and that was the aim, to go there and explore this forest. So, and you can see the lovely forest across, and the plains and the river. This is the river bed, and river beds keep on shifting here, and you can see the white sand and pebbles, long big stones also, they're all white, and we had to cross all these to go across the forest there. So that's the reason we had to go in boats. So on two, 3 occasions, we had gone in small boats also, like the wooden boats, when the water was not so rough. Then they have these rubber dinghies also. Rubber craft is there, so we can go in this rubber craft now, much better now, and with proper life jackets and all that we wear. So then that's a different. The earlier has to go in small wooden boats. Now also the boat is still there, but they are using the rubber craft. That is much safer with life jackets. And we had to cross some of the rivulets also. Rivulets, crossing rivulets also is not easy, and some are very fast moving, and the water is icy cold. It's not easy to cross. Sometimes it's just it's so cold it bites your legs. So much can numb your legs, and we had to really take assistance in crossing the water of these rivulets. You can see here some of the members of our camp, been assisted by the local our assistants we had hired to help us in the camp, and they helped us to cross all the participants, because the water was cool, and walking on those round pebbles is not easy. You can fall actually. It's nothing risky, but yes, the water is at places quite deep, up to knee deep, of course, and it's quite force. The force is there, so we need some helping hand, because we don't cross rivers like this here, and we are not used to it. But at times, when we realize that water is too deep and you can't cross, we had to hire elephants. You can imagine to cross what we did, just crossing by knee deep water. But sometimes it became, you can see even the elephant knee were submerged in that kind of water. So we had to use elephants, and we had a good time with elephant, with the baby elephant also following us, and that's how we crossed this main Noah Ding river. But it was worth, because there also on the other side of the sea, something was really exciting. Some of the swallowtails, which we didn't find earlier in the road, we found them in the riverbed, and they were all mud puddling in the riverbed. And amazing, right from the great mormon, right to the mating pair of great mormon on the top left. Then we have the red breast uh, left bottom, and then there's another blue bottle, common blue bottle is there. We have southern blue bottle in the South India. This is the common blue bottle. It doesn't have the tail which the southern blue bottle have. So this is a common blue bottle. And then we have the 5-bar swordtail. 5-bar swordtail you find in the Western Ghats also, south of Maharashtra, Kerala. And there also in the northeast, 5 bars are comparatively much commoner than South India. And it's amazing to see these beauties. They are mud puddling over the riverbed. And of course, these butterflies were seen on some of the fruits also. Some of the fruits which had fallen down, they had come there, and you can see amazing colors. The colors were so amazing, and the kind of variety you can imagine. Northeast has got about 900 plus species. Out of 1300 plus species we have in India, 900 are found there itself. And Namdapha is a hot spot. So one of the best place to see all the butterflies. Of course, you have the gorgons also, yellow gorgons, brown gorgons, Bhutang glory, and Kaisarines also. But you have to go higher up. We were much below. We were around 400 meters, and we have not gone up high up to see all the other butterflies, because that will take a lot of days. And Namdapha is really a huge place to travel, and we had to just satisfy ourselves to within what time we had to do this. And we had this butterflies here on the ground. That was the that was the poppin jay with the blue border. The beautiful butterfly poppin jay with the blue border on the ground, and the tabby, the orange with the dark brown stripes. The ground. Then you have the yellow Jezebel, beautiful yellow Jezebel, and then the dusky diadem. The bottom left, right is the dusky diadem, left is the yellow Jezebel, and then we have this Archduke. That's a female of the Archduke. That's a female Archduke, and a rotten fruit. Actually, rotten fruits had fallen down, and that was attracting a lot of butterflies. That's one of the best bait. Instead of flowers, we found more butterflies on this ground, on these rotten fruits, and they were sucking up the which was getting the alcohol that exudes from the rotting fruit. So that was basically drawing up all these butterflies. But not only rotten fruit, there was one dead snake also, and we saw one orange sergeant actually. The orange sergeant, they got an orange streak there. So orange sergeant male was sitting on a dead snake, so sucking up the salts and nitrates that these require. It's this high speed fuel that some of these nymphalids require. So they often come for that. And then we had the small butterfly, of course, the sunbeam. This is a tooth sunbeam. It's called tooth sunbeam because this mark you see, tooth-like mark on the forewing. That's called the tooth sunbeam. And in that forest, you see the branded yamfa. You can see the common yamfa in Mumbai also, or in South India also you can see that. But here you can see the branded yamfa, and this is only found in, especially the forest across Deban. You have to cross the river from Deban and go in that forest. That's a likely place to see this branded. Of course, sometimes you see near Deban near Deban garden only, the garden. But best place is to go across in the dark forest across Deban, and there you see this branded, and then you see the Kohinoor. Kohinoor was a reward actually. It came there, sat there, but it didn't open. If it opens, the wing is brilliant blue. I did see the open wing. It was just sitting quiet. It flew once. I just got a glance of its top blue, which has, but otherwise, among the dry leaves, it's impossible to see the Kohinoor. It looks like a dry leaf, just like an oak leaf. It's got the same kind of pattern, which makes them merge with the dry leaf litter and makes them almost impossible. Kohinoor doesn't come on flowers. They come on dead animals, dead crabs, urine, sweat, dung, and rotting fruits, but never on a flower. So some of these butterflies are typical. And there actually the photographers went crazy. When they saw these butterflies mud puddling, you can imagine they went in with every angle. Somebody going rolling on the ground, somebody sitting there. With every angle they were shooting like crazy. It was amazing to shoot all that, and that was something that really they had this a really bucket full of butterflies. Every photographer had such a bucket full of butterflies, and that's the reason we want to go again and again to Namdapha. Namdapha is such a rich country, and even for birders, also it's such a rewarding place for birding. The kind of, especially if you go in March, April, when the local breeding season, the birds are so vocal. Though the forest is very thick, you have to find your bird. But yes, some of the birds like hornbills, trogons, you will see them. The wreath hornbill there is beautiful sight to see when it crosses over. Besides the great hornbill, but the wreath hornbill there, and it's very typical of this area. And then you have the white-bellied heron there. In this same riverbed, it comes white-bellied. It's one of the rarest bird that comes in the very place where these guys are sitting here photographing butterflies. The white-bellied heron is seen in this riverbed. So you can imagine this kind, and it breeds in Bhutan and elsewhere, but here it comes to feed many times when it's not breeding here. And we'll see here recorded here. So that was the fun. And then with this, we had our day, and we had to go back to Deban, and Deban we go back to Miao, and Miao to Guwahati. So that's how we take our journey back. From there, the roads are muddy roads and wet roads. You have to sometimes get stuck, and sometimes the road get washed away, and you have to walk and abandon the vehicle. But whenever you are you want to go to Namdapha, you can remember these two faces here. I am showing you. From Miao is Phupla Singpo. I've been going with Phupla Singpo for several years, and he has been always there for me to arrange camps, and he's excellent, way of arranging camps and looks after us so well. And he has best setup to look after you, and food and everything is the best. And we have been always going with Phupla Singpo. Recently, I had gone with Minom Pertin also. Minom has started and his friends actually have started. Upadhyay is the Roshan Upadhyay. They have started an NGO called Seeds. So that is also a very important NGO which we should support, and that is in Miao. So both of them are in Miao, Phupla Singpo and Minom, and they are in Miao, and they are on the Facebook also, and you can always contact them. And if you want to go, and always you want to ask me something, I'm on the Facebook, or you can write to me or call me. I'm always there to answer. So thank you, friends. I hope you enjoyed this virtual tour to Namdapha, and I'm sure this will certainly tempt you to go. A lovely place when the lockdown lifts up. You'll possibly plan for the next season. Of course, the best season to go is from April to May, and then from late September onwards to July. And of course, you can also you have to you must sure that we are conducting online courses also. Among them is the butterfly course for butterflies for beginners. If you are interested in butterflies, you can join the butterfly course. It's there on the Facebook on the iNaturewatch Foundation, and there are several courses right from kitchen gardening to bugs for beginners, birds for beginners, you name it, and we have it, trees for beginners. So if you're interested in any of these courses, you can join, and I'll be there to guide you, especially butterflies. I'm there, and for other courses also, I'm there to guide you. So thank you, friends, for being with me, and hope to see you again. Have fun for the weekend.